left has hijacked those three words, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and turned them into weapons of mass destruction. This DEI trio makes up the neutron bomb that has laid waste to a good part of our educational and corporate institutions. Given the damage that has been done, it might be a good idea to see what these words used to mean and what they mean now. Diversity used to mean that people of different backgrounds were free to join a group or association. Equity used to mean enforcing equal standards for all individuals and groups. Inclusion used to mean allowing people of every background and identity to participate in a group or association. Now, in their DEI context, these words all mean one thing: applying unequal standards to ensure preferential outcomes for individuals and groups based on race, sex, and gender identity.
What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny here today, and welcome back to Inconvenient Truths. This time we'll be talking about the inconvenient truth of identity politics. My view is identity politics is racism under new management. Sorry, not sorry, right? Because obviously you saw from the intro, right? It used to mean that you wanted people of different backgrounds, right? In the black community, you wanted Caribbean blacks, you wanted immigrant blacks, and they share their perspective saying, hey, look, I came to this country because this is the best opportunity for me as a black person to make it economically. I have more rights than where I came from. This is a good opportunity. African Americans, take advantage of it. Oh, no, you don't count, Kenny. Oh, we exclude you, Kenny, because you're not authentically black. Whatever the hell that means. But I know one thing, I'm American. And you ain't going to disparage my country saying that because of the color of my skin, I have less of an advantage than someone else. And it's this condescending. This is why I find leftism so annoying. I'm gonna keep repeating this line because it's this sense of either based on your identity, you're either inferior or superior. And if you're superior, you should be guilty for that superiority, right? What they don't tell you is your identity doesn't attribute to your outcomes. White people don't have it better in this country because they're white. White people have it better because of the behaviors that they display as a group. Now, that's declining now because the rate of single motherhood in the white community is growing, and you start seeing some of this mess, like the school shootings. Has anyone noticed an increase in that? Right? All school shooters are all school shooters are from single parent households. All the white school shooters you saw is not because they're white is why, they're shooting massive people. No, they're raised by single moms. No discipline, socially isolated. They grew resentful, and they take that resentment out on to other people. Just like when the black community and the high crime rates in our community, these black men that are raised by single moms go through the same process, right? We don't consider drive-by shootings mass shootings. If we did, black people are just as capable of mass shooting as white people. But identity politics, my skin color. I don't accept alibis for failures. Sorry, not sorry. And until we actually look at it, hey, what behaviors are a certain group of people displaying that's causing this negative outcome that we perceive as negative? And let's change that. Let's support these people to help themselves, not to rig the game in their favor and give them preferential treatment, which can set them up for a failure. I mean, I digress. In this next clip, we're going to go with John Stolzer, libertarian, and he's going to have a little conversation with a former DEI officer and hear what he has to say about this nonsense. Let's take a look.
To apologize.
Yes, but what is it really doing?
Eric Smith was a diversity officer at Drew University. Now he teaches at York College. Why'd you stop being a diversity officer?
I just thought it was a useless thing. There's a better way to go about doing this.
Diversity and inclusion.
Useless or not, companies continue to pay big money for trainings.
There's a whole industry now designed to cater to companies looking for a quick way to check that box. In the U.S. in 2020, DEI was a $3.4 billion industry.
Every big company.
They feel like they have to. They have to say something. They have to signal to the world that they're doing something.
Is it effective?
No. In fact, it seems to be doing worse. It seems to be making people less likely to interact with people who are unlike them, because it's like a minefield now.
Less likely to interact.
After a training where you hear things about microaggressions, if you ask somebody what they do for a living, somehow that's racist, right? If you learn that, then why would you take a chance?
I better not talk to Eric because I might say something wrong.
Precisely. So now inclusion means I'm going to silence myself and not talk to the black people.
All white people are racist.
Some trainings are just divisive and dumb.
I believe that white people are born into not being human.
This is extreme, I take it.
It is extreme, but it's becoming more of the norm.
These slides were shown at a Coca-Cola diversity training.
The thesis of this training was try to be less white. They're talking about arrogance and things like that. That is by no means a white thing. The point is to demonize the other side as much as possible.
And that's true. Yeah, the whole point of DEI and identity politics as a whole is to demonize people based on their immutable traits. Demonize men, demonize white people, right? Woe is black people because they're so helpless, right? Identity politics is trash. I'm sorry. This is why I don't agree with CRT, right? I already showed you the facts about CRT. CRT gets black people to think a certain way, to associate their race with behavior. Oh, I can't help that I'm time blindness. This is something black people do. You know, black people show up late on time. No, that's a trained behavior. You're teaching yourself a mindset where you don't hold yourself accountable for the behaviors you display as an individual. And instead of taking responsibility as an individual for your outcomes, you rather use alibi to excuse the fact that you're happening. Oh, it's because I'm black. That's why I came up late. Oh, I'm not good with money because I come from a poverty background. It's a way of deflecting accountability. And this is the reality of identity politics. And another thing they don't tell you about identity politics is that, as he stated in the last clip, it does more harm than good. It causes people to be tentative around people of a different group and class. A black person can come in, be as racist as they want. No one's going to say anything. But if a white person displays the exact same behavior as the black man, oh, we got to fire him. He got to lose his job and we'll condemn him to death. How is that not privilege? I thought we wanted a society where everyone are judged by the same standard, but it seems like people who push DEI or who's in favor of DEI, they want preferential treatment because they happen to be the victim of the day. It's baffling to me, honestly, that you will demonize someone not based on what they have done as an individual, but based because, oh, you're associated with this group of class, so you have to be less white. How can you be less white? If someone told you to be less black, how you be less black? Oh, you gotta stop talk. You gotta stop talking with a ghetto vernacular because I talk proper English. I'm trying to be white. This is the dumb stuff I'm talking about. If I get a skill, if I'm smart, if I'm articulate, if I know how to read, people associate that with white culture, and that's how they use you have to be less white. This is racism, guys. I digress. Identity politics is just all it is an alibi to give preferential treatment to certain interest groups. Oh, look, we don't have the same outcome as this group, therefore we should set the odds against them. Asian people recognize this, right? Men recognize this. Hell, some black people recognize this. Like, yo, I'm not helpless. I'm not inferior to you. Only someone with the mindset that think a certain group of people are inferior to them, that they need preferential treatment to make it in life, is race. That you can't get away from that. You think less than another group because of the color of their skin, and this is why you want them to have lower standards, because you know the standards exist there for a reason. If someone doesn't meet the standards, that means, hey, if you don't qualify, you don't qualify, and therefore you're gonna do a bad job, and you will set you up even for worse outcomes. This is why when Disney laid off a bunch of black women, right? All of them happen to be DEI officers. This is why. During bad times, you can't sustain this. All this is a show. All this is virtue signaling. And it's a hustle. This is race hustle, right? $3.4 billion industry. This is a hustle. Of course, the people who push for DEI sees a need for it, because you benefit directly from it. Objectively, it has not increased or done the job that it claims to do. This is why identity politics is divisive, but I digress. Don't hear from me. Let's look at this final part. And this is some of the conclusions and some of the evidence they have for why DEI just doesn't work. Let's take a look.
This Harvard professor analyzed studies of them.
Sadly enough, I did not find one single study which has found that diversity training, in fact, leads to more diversity.
In fact, the Harvard Business Review reports 5 years after diversity training, the share of black women managers actually decreased.
It's not about data, it's about a power grab.
A power grab that starts in schools.
Melt the steel bars of racism and white language supremacy.
This expert tells teachers it's racist to teach traditional English.
If you use a single standard to grade your students' languaging, you engage in racism. You actively promote white language supremacy, which is the handmaiden to white bias in the world.
Smith was in the audience.
I heard that, thought it was a bit misguided.
So Smith wrote a long and thoughtful response saying it's a disservice to minority kids not to teach standard English. For that, he was attacked.
We are professors in communication. I thought we could communicate. I was so wrong.
Instead of a discussion, people called you racist. Do you enjoy using Western modes of argument to invalidate people of color? Check your privilege.
What they saw in me was a bigger threat than anything they've seen before. A black person saying it's okay to teach black students standardized English.
An academic named Eve complained about the harm Smith consistently perpetuates. Other academics joined in to coddle Eve. Eve spent tremendous labor, physically, intellectually, and emotionally, to write his response, and most probably took him extra time to recover from that labor. It's like they're victims everywhere.
Yes, that's the point. You have to perpetuate the victimhood. That's part of the narrative.
Yeah, this is a hustle, bro. Come on. I grew up in the hood. This is a hustle, bruh. No, I'm glad this stuff is failing, like, honestly. And even look at the modes of argument, Western modes of argument. What does disprove my argument? Is it true or false? These people will set you up for failure. Look, this is how if you don't know standard line, if you don't know how to speak English, it limits your economic opportunities. Is it no wonder that Hispanic people and black people are at the bottom of the economic ladder in America? Asians change their name to American names because they realize it's adaptation. If you go to China, you have to do what the Chinese do. Are you going to say, oh, if China became the world power and you happen to live in China, are you going to say Chinese is an Eastern mode of language and culture? No, it's either objectively right or objectively wrong. These people live in this realm of subjectivity. Oh, you're losing Western arguments, therefore I disprove it. No, you didn't disprove anything. The results are the same. If a group of people are successful and they display certain behaviors and you don't use those certain behaviors, you will lose. If you have a standard where, hey, I'm fighting for diversity. Let's do a thought experiment, everyone. Let's try diversity and inclusion in a basketball game. If I decide, hey, black people are overrepresented in the NBA and that is causing black normatives in society, I'm gonna put a bunch of short, Asian, white, Hispanic players on my team because my team is more diverse and diversity is our strength. And me, I'm gonna pick all the best five all the five best basketball players that I can find. Most of them is gonna be black, and then they're gonna spank your ass 40 points. You're gonna get blown out because the results speak for itself. Meritocracy is better than diversity and inclusion, and these companies are realizing that. That's why they have to fire a bunch of DEI people because they don't actually attribute anything to the bottom line of a corporation. Because all diversity and inclusion is to virtue signal, to show how good and righteous and virtuous you are. But when it comes times to produce, those people ain't going to produce like the people who are overly represented. They're overly represented for a reason. It's because their group of people can deliver the results. I have a theory. If you're able to research this and you look at the amount of time that black kids spend playing sports, it'll equal the amount of time that Asian kids spend studying. And I think that leads to why they have disproportional outcomes in athletics and academics. Prove me wrong. But hey, I digress. I wanted to try a shorter format to see if it helps with engagement because I noticed you guys haven't been watching the Inconvenient Truths, but I'm going to still deliver these videos out. Let me know your thoughts about it. Do you believe in identity politics, or are you in alignment with me that this is just a hustle and a means of creating irrelevant jobs for people who have no skills or no skills that's actually productive or valuable in society? Let me know your thoughts. Or you think this causes more division? You think this is needed? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys for watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.